Our sister station, WGN, up in Chicago, joins us. Good morning, Ryan Burrow.
Good morning. Yeah, Judge Rosemarie Aquilina kind of making a name for herself as she allowed all 156 young women and girls to come out and speak. And there is change going on beyond just what happened in that courtroom. We all know Dr. Larry Nassar sentenced to 40 to 175 years behind bars. He will likely die in prison, as Judge Aquilina said. She said, "It was my honor and privilege to sentence you." But what's happening behind the scenes is perhaps a little more interesting moving forward. For example, the U.S. Olympic Committee announcing yesterday in an open letter it would like to see all of USA Gymnastics board gone. Already 3 members have stepped aside. There are 21 members on that board. They want everyone cleared out and a whole new board to take over. Many of the criticisms that were leveled over that 7 days of testimony were directed at USA Gymnastics for knowing what was going on at these locations, knowing about Dr. Nassar, and not doing anything, especially some of the activities that went down at the Caroli Ranch. So changes coming there. We already know Michigan State University's president, after swelling calls for her to step down, agreed to do so yesterday. So we'll see what other shoes end up dropping following the 7 days of testimony.
What kills me about this, Ryan Burrow, is this originally was brought to light by an Indianapolis Star investigative report. And then from then it sort of snowballed, and all these women started feeling powerful enough, and their voice was finally going to be heard, that they started coming out. And as you said, we're up over 150, 160. What kills me is, why now, after a year and a half of this, is the NCAA finally getting around to investigating this? Why is it a year and a half the Michigan State president finally decides to resign? USA decides to clean house. Aren't they really late to this party?
It seems as though everyone was, right? I mean, there were decades upon decades of abuses going on. How is it that that was not, investigated as soon as Dr.
Right.
Larry Nassar touched the first few females who came in? What's interesting when we heard the testimony, and it went on for a long time, is there seemed to be a common thread among some of the women. They didn't realize that they were abused until the article came out. You're 12, 13, 14 years old, and this doctor who's certified tells you that this treatment is proper. You believe it.
Yeah.
And until, you read in the paper, oh my gosh, this happened to 160, 170 other women, you don't realize, the pain and trauma that it caused you. So, I think all of these women and girls coming together for the first time helped everyone kind of understand the magnitude. And he's been labeled as the #1 child molester in American history.
Not only that, but in some of the comments from some of the victims, he did this. It wasn't 16, 17-year-old girls. These were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old girls with their parents in the room with them.
The first woman who testified on day one, her family was friends with Dr. Nassar, and she said that he committed some of these abuses in her own home, in her basement, and went into detail about this. One of the last women to speak, at 15 years old, said that the abuse actually didn't happen on a training table, but happened in a supply room. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why would that happen in the first place? So a real head scratcher, and it's not a huge surprise that there's a lot of fallout.
Why did the judge? It seems like it's a wide variety of years, 40 to 175 years. What's the reason for that?
Yeah, we got an explanation. The minimum she could sentence was, or the maximum she could sentence in the minimum range was 40. She has the ability to add 55 years on. It's her discretion. There's bail that gets tossed in there not bail, I'm sorry, bond hearing. Once again, parole hearings that have an opportunity in there. Basically, she gamed it in a way that it's going to be impossible for him to get out anytime soon.
Ryan Burrow, good stuff. Thanks for checking in.